ನಿಂತೀನಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ తెలియలేదు
ಕೇಕ್ ಸಾப்பிடுதா
Keruba.
suka lupa dari jawab
log in again.
நீங்கள் விரும்பும் நகைகளை
கொஞ்சம் மெசேஜ்
அப்புறம் சொல்லலாம் அவங்க எப்படி பண்ணுவாங்க அது
மாத்திரை சாப்பிடாத
Start ಮಾಡೋದಾ? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Muthu Kumar. Today we will continue with the session. So to start with, may I request all of you to kindly mute your phones. Am I audible to all? All right.
Yes, sir.
Possibly if you can sit in a place where you're not disturbed, that will be great. And request all of you to ask the questions at the end of the session, or depending on Ms. Rashmi on how she wants. Probably if she has some questions or if she wants it to keep it interactive, it's up to her. But otherwise, we request all of you to ask the questions at the end. So today's agenda is that we will have welcome and introduction. Then we will have a journey so far of Disciples India Group and Disciples India Learning Forum, and a guest speaker's introduction, and then we will continue with the session. So what is the vision of the Disciples India? It is to excel as a focused and fulfilling learning destination for a new age growth aspirants. And we will be a practice-based professional training and consulting platform through novel and relevant process of transformation to individuals and organizations. And the core values is hard work, commitment, honesty, and honesty. Just give us a second. There is a technical glitch. I'm unable to move to the next slide. Just give us a moment. All right, it's honor and happiness. Then Disciple India Learning Forum. What is its objectives? Basically, it is a platform for for a group of people to Disciples India Group is happy to present a platform purely for the joy of learning, and it is a platform to share and exchange ideas and experiences, to create, develop personal and professional network of learners, to enhance effective communication and leadership skills, to foster learning and contribute for personal, professional, and organizational development, to update with life management skills, contribute as an effective member to the society. That was a quick video about what Disciples India Group has been doing so far. So Disciples India Learning Forum's organizing committee members are Dr. A.M. Suresh, who's the advisor, Dr. Sandhya N, who's the president. I play the role of vice president, and Mr. Parthos, who's the secretary, and Mr. Satish is again a joint secretary, Mr. Shiv Prasad, the treasurer, and Mr. Akhilesh, the executive member. Disciples India Learning Forum sessions started in 2018, and we continue to do it in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. And so far we've done about 84 sessions. Basically, this happens monthly twice, second and fourth Saturday. So we have done for about 84 sessions so far. This was our, for this year, session number 81 was by Dr. Anni Arnav. It was about exploring psychological contract in the current scenario. Then 82nd was topic on healthy states and progressive India, ranking of states and union territories by Dr. Ratan Chand. Then we had a previous session, that is 83rd session on, that is on click wrap contracts and privacy issues in India. That's by Dr. Rama Iyer. And then we had the 84th session, that is investment avenues and tax planning by Professor Satyanarayana K. And today we have a topic called Getting in Touch with Your Voice by Rashmi Shetty. And Disciples India Learning Forum is doing this particular event in association with St. Anne's First Grade College for Women, that is in Millers Road, Bangalore. So may I request Ms. Renuka to introduce the guests, please. Renuka, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please proceed.
It's a great evening as great people have joined here. I, Renuka, take from St. Anne's First Grade College for feel privileged and honor to introduce the speaker of day, Ms. Rashmi Shetty. We are filled with curiosity and excitement as there is going to be a flow of great ideas and treasure of knowledge to be discovered within few moments. So let's not delay and let's begin our inspiring session. Rashmi Shetty is an ICF credentialed professional certified coach and the founder director of the Third Eye. She has taken office from January 2022 as a trustee with the ICF Foundation, a global role with the International Coaching Federation, where she intends being instrumental in blending important issues like climate change into coaching. Rashmi comes from a varied background of coaching, sales, storytelling, facilitator, radio jockeying, chat show hosting, emceeing, and podcasting. An electric mix from all this experience makes her a motivational speaker too. A certified DIC assessor, EFT, NLP, TN101 are what she uses in her assignments. Combining these learnings with an in-depth understanding of the Bhagavad Gita has connected the many dots of her life. These lessons are the craft for leadership and coaching programs. Attitude transition is what Rashmi focuses on in her coaching sessions. Her ability to create instant connect with her clients is one of the biggest strengths. She earned her PCC in 2013 and uses her own coaching model, RISE. R for result, I for I represent introspection, which is the key to understand what are the obstacles. S is a stimulation where powerful questioning and visualization techniques are used. And E, the stage of evolution. Coaching leaders, especially women leaders in transition, social change makers, and entrepreneurs or startups have been her area of interest. She is a national and international award winner for scripting and narrating radio documentaries and has a 17-year parallel experience in the voice industry, emceeing voiceover scripting and narrating radio documentaries. Her skills with voice are what she delivers with her program Vani, virtual articulation and narrating instrument for enhancing virtual presentation skills, a one-on-one customized coaching program to build virtual presence to our clients who range from different sectors and across leadership laterals. You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a podcast she hosts where she interviews people who have inspiring stories. She was honored with the iconic Woman Creating a Better World for All award in July 2020 from the Women Economic Forum, and is also Asia lead with a global body called Climate Coaching Alliance. It's an immense pleasure in welcoming you to this session. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Renuka. Thank you very, very much. Love the way you really read the profile. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I don't even know what to say, but I'm really happy to be here. And when I spoke to Muthu about this entire program, we were wondering whether putting together a slide would make it interesting. But then the whole idea was finding your voice and getting in touch with it. So if slides are there, then there's no connection. So therefore, there are no slides. Okay. So what I'd be doing is I'm going to talk to you and ask you questions. And I want you to type in the chat your answers or questions of whatever you have as we move. Time and again, I'll pause so that there is room and time to take your questions. Okay, so first of all, voice is something that I got in touch with of my own and realized how much I can do when I realized what the worth of my voice is. A very shy, introverted girl when I started off in college. To move to understand what it is to be a public speaker was a journey in itself. And the moment I realized that I can actually express what I think, that's when I understood that the voice is our biggest element, a biggest blessing that we have. But voice, according to me, has many definitions. So can you type out what, according to you, is voice? Let's have the chat box rolling. What, according to you, is voice? I need some answers to go ahead. So this is going to be interactive. Maybe a couple of you can unmute and answer. So how are you going to do it? What, according to you, is voice? It's a way to communicate. Adira, good. Anyone willing to unmute and answer? You have to, yeah, voice is sound or tune to express words, okay? Love that, Bhamini. Express your feelings and emotions, okay? Helps tell your thought, convey our feelings. Voice is sound or tune, okay? Great. And the voice is a way to express our opinions and thoughts. Yes. Express our thoughts. Great. Did anyone unmute to answer? Okay, can we have a couple of answers more before I proceed? If voice is used to express our thoughts, it's a way to communicate. Voice is sound or tune. Voice is also conveying our opinions. What about those who cannot speak? Everyone has a voice, is what I said, right? Voice is way deeper than what we give it credit for. And today, the topic is titled Getting in Touch with Your Voice. There are so many facets to this beautiful word called voice. It's how you convey what you want out of life. And therefore, I'm going to make it an acronym because I love playing with acronyms. It's very easy to remember as well. So VOICE becomes an acronym for today's session. Okay, so the next time you tell anybody, I know what it is to have a voice, because voice is not only sound, there's a lot more depth to it. It's communicating to others, yes, but how? You don't always use words, right? Even if you can speak, you don't always use words. There are many ways in which we convey what our thoughts are. So let's break it down. Let's take the first alphabet, V. V in this acronym stands for vision. Okay? Now, vision is your ability to see what you want for yourself. There are many people who cannot see. But some of the most successful people who could not see, but managed to lead their lives with impact, like Helen Keller, is because they had a vision. They maybe lost their sight, which is something which is a physical blessing, but they did not lose their vision. Vision is setting up for yourself what you see you want to be. And when you make sure that it is beyond you, that's when the vision board becomes big. Every one of you here can just get home after this session, pull out some newspapers, ads, all these colorful pictures, take a chart paper or an A4 size paper, and take all the pictures that speak to you without words, just the pictures, the expressions, put it together and see, okay, if I am visioning myself 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, what is it that I want in my life for me? With the pandemic, we all know uncertainty is the new reality. Everyone knew change is constant, but the pandemic showed us that it is here to stay. And every day is change. Slowly, things are moving into something called as a hybrid situation. New normal, schools are opening, colleges are opening, offices are working, but still people are moving very cautiously. And that's where the next word called O, which stands for outcome, okay, is important for you to understand. So when we talk about outcome, so the first one is vision, making sure you see for yourself what is it you want. If you want a healthy you want to be healthy, what you need to do is cut out pictures of smiling faces. If you have your own photographs, because today everything is digital, not many of you would have taken a hard copy of the picture. So putting smiling faces, putting good food, putting healthy food, exercise, books, whatever you want for yourself, put that on that A4 size paper and fill in with words that you resonate with. That becomes your vision board. Keep it somewhere where you can see it every day. Okay? Words that resonate with you, quotations that resonate with you, pictures that make you smile and happy. Put all of them together and keep that in a space, maybe near your bed or a place where you study, wherever you want, inside your cupboard, on your cupboard, however, wherever you think it's comfortable, but you'll have to look at it every day. And that visualization is possible when we are clear about our outcomes. Now, what is an outcome? Jack Canfield, the man who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is, if you haven't read it, I think you should, because so many chicken soup series have come in after that. But this man has put in together a formula called E plus R is equal to O, which is events plus response is equal to outcome. What does he mean by that? There are many events which happen in our lives, and we don't have control over it. What we do have control over is the response that we give, how we react, what kind of a feedback do we give for the event, and that is outcome. Like, I'll give you an example, a very popular story about how 10% of what is happening around us is in our control. 90% isn't. There was this father, this is pre-pandemic times, there was this father who was getting ready to go to work, the wife who was getting ready to go to work as well, and the small daughter of theirs who was getting ready to go to school. Now they were sitting at the table and the wife was applying jam on the bread and placing it between father and daughter. She placed the daughter's glass of milk and the husband's coffee opposite each other, and she continued to apply jam and butter on the bread. The daughter, in her hurry, while picking up her glass of milk, toppled the entire cup of coffee on her father's suit. Her father was so upset because it was a very expensive suit and that day was a very important client meet. He shouted at the daughter for being so careless, and she is like a 7-8-year-old. He shouted at the wife for placing it in such a precarious space and took his briefcase, ran up to the bedroom to change. When he came down, the daughter was crying. She had not finished her breakfast. She missed her school bus because she was not ready to run to the school bus. So the wife looked at the husband and she said, "Sweetheart, I'm getting late to work, so please drop our daughter in school." So the husband took the daughter, and the school is complete opposite direction of his office, and he dropped her. But the girl was so upset with her dad because he was rude to her. She did not even turn back. She was still sobbing when she entered school. The father was feeling guilty. He drove all the way to office. And you know what happens? When you are in a hurry, every time you're in a hurry, that's when you reach the signal turns red. And that's what happened to him as well. The signal turned red. And in order to make up for the lost time, what he did was he went really fast. And the moment he was speeding, there was a policeman who stopped him, issued a ticket, he had to pay a fine. Grumpy, irritated, he reached office. And that day, his boss and the client were very much on time. And when he entered, the boss opened the door and said, "Oh, late are you? The client is waiting in the boardroom. Please go in immediately." As he was entering the boardroom, he realized his briefcase was still in the bedroom. Now just go back, flash back to the entire scenario of the breakfast table. What happened? When he gave, the wife kept the coffee and the milk, and the daughter picked the milk and the coffee spilt on his coat, he screamed at his daughter. Instead, if he had told her, "Please be careful, sweetheart," and ran up to change and come down, the daughter would have left to school happily saying sorry. Wife would have gone to work, and maybe he would have got to work maybe 20-25 minutes earlier. Many a times in life, the events are not under our control. What is the response. And then the response, that's why there's a difference between reaction and response. Reaction is what we do instantly, emotionally. But response is cooling yourself down and then giving any kind of an answer. That leads to outcomes. When it's a response, when you're cool, the outcomes are in your favor. When it is a reaction, you saw in this story what the sequence was. So it's extremely important for us to understand that outcomes are in our hands. It's completely on the way we respond. Look at the way things turned in the last 2 years. There were many people who resigned from their space of work and started small little businesses. And the number of women especially who moved out of workspace because it was getting too much for them to manage work, their children, and home, they became small entrepreneurs. And over the last 2 years, many of them have ended up becoming really successful. Not trying many different things, but playing with 1 or 2 skills that they had. So it's extremely important for us to understand, focus on the outcome. So when you're putting your vision board together, It's the outcome that you should be thinking of. Because when you're clear about the outcome, you can work backwards. And the response, therefore, will be very much under your control. And the next alphabet is I, which is information. Try and be as informed as possible. Today, everyone has a smartphone. Everyone. And information is at our fingertip, in fact, at our thumb tips. There is so much of information that there is an information overload. So trying to understand how much of information is information, how much is too much information, how much is reliable information is very important. Social media is on a high. Everyone's tweeting something or sharing something. WhatsApp has become a university. There are so many graduates and postgraduates from that university. The moment you get a forward, what do? Without even checking, you forward it to people in your contact. You're doing it because you think it's good to help. But when you don't check the validity, you're spamming and you're spreading fake news. So much of fake information is what is being distributed through WhatsApp University. Extremely important, therefore, for us to understand that be wise. Know how much of information you need to use. Verify the rest. And whatever you're going to say, if people are going to find it on Google or Wikipedia, they're not going to be interested, right? So try and make sure that you have information about all different things. Share your opinions, but don't be so opinionated that my opinion is the only opinion and that's the truth. Share your opinions, but be very open to understand what other people are trying to say. Being informed, being up to date, understanding what's happening is important. Because when conversations begin with people you don't know, because see, just now, technology is such a big help. I'm sitting at my place, you're sitting at your places, all different spaces, and we're all listening and I'm speaking, right? So we are connected. The beauty of technology, in fact, the blessing of the pandemic is people realized you don't have to travel everywhere. Use technology, which we always had, but never used. And understand how much is important. Don't push yourself too much. You don't have to be a walking, talking encyclopedia of everything under the sun. There's Google for that. Let's use technology for that. Pick certain topics where you become an expert. Read up everything possible around it and have and share your opinion. But very important, be flexible to others' thoughts as well. Because everyone together is sharing this planet. And the more you start valuing inputs, that is when you will understand why information is important. When we are talking about any topic, please understand everything else can be Googled other than your opinion. You are important. Your opinion matters, but it should not be the ultimate. Try and read up, have a fair idea about what's happening. What are the topics that social media is talking about? Glance through newspapers, it's important. Read the editorial page. It'll give you a fair amount and a big idea of what the entire thought processes are. Read a little bit of everything, but be a master of one thing. So much so that when anybody is having an argument, you should be the one they're coming to clarify. So understand what is that area of interest of yours and work on that space. The C stands for communication. How much ever you invest in communication, I would say, is not enough. because communication is an ongoing skill. And I call it a skill because it comes with practice. First and foremost, very important to understand that we are not born English. Even if you speak one Indian language well enough, grammatically correct, English is going to be very easy for you to master. It is very important to share your thoughts. And just like how you didn't come onto this earth knowing your mother tongue, you practiced, made mistakes, and that's how you spoke. Same thing with English. Share your opinions. Because when we talk about language, that is one element of communication. But communication per se not only has vocabulary, it also has these nonverbal cues. Handling yourself, because all of us walk with our presence. You know, there are some people, the moment they enter the room, everybody looks at them. They have something magical about them. It's not only what they say, it's how they say it that people enjoy about them. So the words could be few, but how they say that means the tone of the voice, the facial expression. Now on the Zoom rectangle, you will notice that all you can see is only till my shoulders. You can't see below that. So therefore, how I use my hands, how I use my facial expression, how I tilt my head, all of this are the nonverbal cues with which I speak. So it's not only how, it is also what all I use as nonverbal cues. So the tone is important, vocabulary, very important, simple words, but making it effective. But what is even more is the nonverbal cues. Very, very important to understand that communication is where your thoughts are expressed, and that comes from information that you have. When your vision is clear to you, you will be working on the outcome, which is being completely aware of the events and how you're responding to the events. When you're prepared, you are really like let's all go back to 2020, March. Lockdown, everybody thought, great, forced holiday. Slowly, when everybody woke up to say, okay, now we need to get back to work, schools, colleges, and offices, everyone equipped themselves. Work from home was never thought of as a possibility. Okay, Anusha, can you please mute yourself? So it becomes very important for us to understand that man is pretty resilient. Human beings per se know how to handle themselves in situations. And globally, people got connected over this technology. So many different ways and means by which we stayed connected to the world. And that was our vision to see how to handle this situation. Soon, the scientists went into full action, vaccines came out. Today, most of us are double vaccinated. Senior citizens have the booster dose in place. And the pandemic now is called an endemic. Look at the way we have handled the entire situation. No, we didn't. We handled ourselves. The decision makers went ahead and took the decision for the country, but individually, each one of us responded differently because we were clear that the outcome is something that is way beyond us. What we have under our control is the response. Many, many events happened. People didn't know how to take it. The second wave hit India very hard. But slowly, definitely, steps started moving in front. And today, as an outcome, we are able to face whatever is before us. Information was given to us from different sources. We started filtering, understanding which media channel to listen to, when to switch off all of that and use entertainment to make sure that we are lighter. And we understood that this communication was important. When the pandemic began, I'm somebody who believes in the energy of the room. For me, if the room has people, then I draw energy from the people. And suddenly, I was arrested on a screen. So first I needed to handle myself. And that's when I started putting out videos on YouTube channels. I never knew all that. I'm still learning. Okay, Hajira, it's very important for you to understand that you stay on mute. Okay, if you're not contributing. Since all of us are now working from home, this is a reality that we are all part of conversations without being there. Now, none of you have kept your cameras on. So I don't even know how many of you have just logged in for the certificate and how many of you are actually listening. So I am addressing screens with names, squares and rectangles with names and pictures. It's so important to be comfortable, to be looking at yourself. And that is where the most important element of communication comes in. And the more you start focusing on communication, and the best way to start it, well, standing in front of the mirror. Every day, take this as a challenge. And I'm telling you from a space, I started off by telling you that I was a very shy person. I was such an introvert. But what helped me was the mirror exercise. I would stand in front of the mirror every day, look into the mirror, talk to myself. And the day I became completely comfortable looking at my reflection and speaking to my reflection, I knew I can face anybody. Today I MC events, I talk to many different people. It doesn't matter who's on the other side because I'm comfortable with who I am. And that is very important. Because when you are confident, it shows in your body language. You don't have to say, I'm confident. The way you speak, people make out whether you're confident. Communication is so underrated. People call it soft skills. I don't know why. I think it should be essential skills. It's the most important skill. Everything we do is a communication. Now, when you're talking to your family members, you're communicating an idea or a thought. When you're talking to friends, you're building a bridge or a connection. When you're giving an answer for questions asked, you're showing and sharing what you know. And you're clarifying whether what you know and have understood is correct. Every level, communication is what we need. Like I said, it's not only what we are saying, but how we are saying it. One of the most beautiful essence and the essential elements of communication, especially non-verbally, is the smile. And we use it so often. You know how many different ways we smile? How many different times we smile? We smile when we are angry. We smile when we are sad. We smile when we are sarcastic. We smile when we're really happy. We smile when we are happy looking at somebody we like. It's one of the most natural and blessed facial expressions that human beings are blessed with. No other creature in the social ladder, if you say, of the fauna in the planet can smile. Human beings are the only ones who are blessed with it. And still, we are so stingy about sharing our smiles. Today, when we wear the mask, we still know when a person is smiling, right? So obviously, it's not the lips that smile, it's the eyes. And that's where eye contact comes in. When you're looking at people, look into their eyes and speak. You make a bigger impact than when you actually look down or look elsewhere. Slowly now, we're going to meet people once again. Start building this and start it with looking into the eyes of your reflection. Do this exercise. I am today who I am because of the mirror exercise. So I can vouch for this exercise. This exercise is magic. For 15 days, maximum 3 weeks, 21 days, do this every day. Look into the mirror, talk to your reflection, and smile at your reflection. If you're going out, smile at your reflection and say, have a nice meeting, have a nice day. If it's early in the morning, look at your reflection and say, have a nice day. You know that power of looking into your own eyes and smiling is so important. And Swami Vivekananda said it best, that if you're not spending time with yourself, you're missing out with meeting one of the most amazing human beings. Because if you're not comfortable with who you are, you'll never be comfortable with anyone. And if you are not happy with who you are, how can you expect the world to be happy with you? All of us are work in progress. Every time there's something new coming in, there is a challenge, we have to learn it. Nobody is a perfect piece because there's nothing called perfection. The problem is that. Let me do it when everything is perfect. There is nothing called perfect. And you want to check? Well, the biggest teacher is nature. If you are in Bangalore, just walk into any of the BBMP parks. Check out for flowering plants and check for the flowers. And look at the shading. The line between one shade to another is not a perfect line. It's blended so beautifully that you don't even know where the blending is happening. So when nature herself doesn't have anything called perfection, look at how plants grow on other plants and modify their trunks to fit in the other plants alongside. Some of the most imperfect trees are the most beautiful trees which have accommodated other plants along. Look at the sky early morning or when the sun is setting. Look at the colors. It doesn't have a definite line from this color to this color to this color. It's just graded so beautifully. Nothing is perfect. Perfection is a myth. So don't strive for it. Strive to be your best version every time. And the more you start doing that, the more you will work on yourself. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't feel jealous looking at other people because you don't know what their story is, what their journey has been like. You are a blessing. Believe that and be your best version wherever, whatever you're doing. And that's where we come to the E of voice. So we have finished vision. I is VO. O is for outcome. That is events plus response. I is for being informed. How do you collect the information and use it? C is for communicating these informations and assimilating other things to make yourself educated in the true sense of the term. And E stands for explore. I like your guess, Fatima. Okay, let's see. I think I'll go back into the chat box. What do you think E stands for? Let's see by now if you've guessed it. E. E would be what? After I said all of this, what is E? Okay, I'll give you a clue. E is equal to MC squared. Yeah, we all know that formula, right? So what can E be? Come on, quickly. What can E be? Enthusiasm, okay. Explore, enthusiasm, then couple of other answers before I move. Experience, energy, estimation, examining. Wow. Okay, I like all of this. Okay, let me see. Okay, oh my God, excellence. Now you're going faster than I can go. Communicate. Okay. Yes. So of the ones here, Aisha got it right. E is equal to mc squared was my clue. And Aisha was the one who said energy. Exactly. And what is energy equal to? What is mc squared? It is meaningful connections. Energy is what each one of us here give away. Okay? I work with people's attitude because that is where our correction can be done. And what is attitude? What is attitude? Can anybody tell me what is attitude? Before we go to energy, I want you to tell me what is attitude. Because attitude is a blend of all the E's that many of you have written. Put it all together, that's attitude. So what is attitude? Personality, okay. What is personality, Janani? You can unmute and speak. I know this is a long answer to type. The way we talk and behave. Very good, Vidya. What else is attitude? Physical behavior. Yeah, okay. Superior to others behavior. Standard of living is an attitude. Okay. A feeling about something. Gestures. Fantastic. I love what you people are putting in here. Our character. Yes. A settled way of thinking about something. Okay. Okay, all of you have gone to Google now. So that's how you're getting these answers. So we'll stop. The moment you go to Google, then we don't get answers, because I said having information is important, but putting it in your own words is even more important. Okay?
கால் வருது சில பேர் மியூட் பண்ணிடுறாங்க.
Okay. Yes, Harshita. You have anything?
Sorry, ma'am. I was talking.
Okay. So when we talk about attitude, this is my favorite subject. Now, once I put my camera on, I was smiling, right? And when I started speaking and then on, I've been smiling. How many of you looked at that and said, wow, that is great attitude? Yes, Fatima, you have to unmute if you've raised your hand. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute. Fatima, Manal Fatima, you can.
Yes, ma'am. I was seeing your smile. I felt very enthusiastic to attend the program.
Okay, thank you, Fatima. Okay, oh, so that's why you raised your hand, is it? Okay, so I will lower your hand. And yeah, but when we see somebody positive, we don't tap the other person and say, hey, what attitude, yaar, I love this attitude. We are like, yeah, okay, fine, you smile back. But if I had not smiled, okay, and I was grumpy, and I started speaking with good evening, everybody, what is it that you would have typed privately or texted any of the friends on this group? Oh my God, what attitude. I don't like her. Right? Yeah, Fatima Tareen, you want to say something? You should unmute to say.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
They would board
Okay.
like.
Yeah, okay. So it is important for us to understand that attitude, like many of you said, is the way we behave and respond to people and situations around us. Attitude is not only negative. Attitude is everything that we do. So as much as we describe attitude as negative, and attitude as a word that many people say, oh, she's got attitude, means it's not a compliment, right? From today onwards, when you describe somebody, Don't say, what attitude. If you like the person, also say, love your attitude. Okay, because attitude is made up of 3 E's. Before we come to the energy E, I'll talk a little about attitude because I got the answers already from you. The 3 E's are our environment, that's the space that we grew up. So our influences for our attitude is what value systems are given to us, how we realize right from wrong, what our parents tell us as value systems. Okay, at home, extended family, what they follow, and that's what we follow. That's exactly what we draw as our environmental lessons. But you know, our environment does not only mean home. When we step out of the house and we mix with the people in society, that also becomes an influence of our attitude. Because what are we checking? Our parents taught us this. But does everybody follow these same lessons? We need to check this. And therefore, we start clarifying when others behave, when others respond, and try and understand what exactly is right from wrong. How much can I exceed my lines? At home, I'm very clear. My parents have told me this is it. You can't exceed this line. But outside with friends, how much can I cross the line? You are in that process educating yourself. Now, education is not school college degree. It's our interaction in society, all those unwritten rules of society where we are learning how to behave in society. That is education. With going to school and college, what we are gaining is literacy. Our certificates make us literate, they don't make us educated. And if you notice, some of the most educated people around us in society are those who have learned from the university called life and therefore understand the value of each second we are alive. Those who live every second of their life is truly educated. And the third E that influences our attitude is experience. Many of you in this room could be very young in comparison to me. But if life, which is our biggest teacher, has given you some experiences which have made you that much more wiser, that's why we describe some people wiser beyond their years, or a gray head on green shoulders, where it becomes okay. Whoever has joined in on Dr. Suresh Kumar's account, kindly mute yourself. So it becomes very important for us to understand that that is the biggest teacher of all, experience. So your attitude, how you behave, how you react, how you hold yourself together, how you manage to smile in spite of all the difficulties around you, is a mix of your environment, your education, and your experience. And that is exactly what helps you build your vision, work on the outcome, because you'll know how to handle response for the events that are happening around you, allows you to filter information that is required and information you can delete, helps you work on your communication. You're never in a hurry to prove your point all the time. You're willing to listen. And that becomes very important, because communication is not only one way. When somebody else is talking, you need to listen. Otherwise, how will you communicate with that person? You need to understand, why we listen? We listen to reply. But the moment you listen to basically try and understand what they're saying, that's when communication happens and the attitude is right. Because the final E that we're going to handle here, which is equal to MC squared, is the energy you bring in for meaningful connections. Automatically, if you have the right attitude, you will attract the right people around you. They always say, you are an average of the 5 people you interact with. Choose them wisely, because you have a choice. You haven't chosen your family, it was given to you. But you have a choice with whom you are seen and from whom you learn. So choose your friends and your network very wisely, because your network is your net worth. And the more you start valuing this, that is where your connections become that much more meaningful. Don't always see what can I take, what can I take. Start seeing what can I give, what can I give. It's cyclic. The law of giving is all about give. It'll definitely create that empty space where something else will fill up. Without giving, you will not get anything. And try this. Donation, give money in a space where you think you don't have time. You'll feel okay. And if it covers under ATC and all the other IT things, you'll be happy. Okay, my IT is covered. But if there is a space to volunteer, give your time. Even if it is a visit to an old age home or an orphanage, give some time there and see how you feel. It's amazing with the reaction that you get from the other person who feels they are not needed in society, that someone chose to come and give their time, because that is most important. When you pick the phone to talk to somebody, you're giving them time. And time is the only resource we cannot beg, borrow, steal, or lend to anybody. All of us have limited time here. So when you're giving that to somebody, think wisely. Why are you giving? Okay, always make sure. Don't use it to criticize somebody, to gossip about somebody. I'm not saying don't gossip at all. Gossip is good stress busting, but don't do it very often. Do it once in a while. Gives both of you good laughter, smile, finish that conversation, and done. But start being more, because human beings are wired to be altruistic. Altruistic in positive psychology is where we love to give, okay, without thinking of a return. And when we give, the biggest donation is that donating your time, because you're giving a piece of your life. And the moment you do that, you have built meaningful connections. Sometimes you're a group of friends, let's say, and you're talking, and one friend, all of you are smiling, making fun of each other, but there's one friend in that group who doesn't speak much. She's smiling, or he's smiling, but not talking much. And you notice that. You don't say anything when all of you are together, and then you disperse, you go back home. Then you call your friend and you say, I noticed you were upset. Anything you want to share? I will listen. For you, it's just a call. But for that friend, you will mean the world, because you took that effort to make that call. It is so important. That's where eye contact helps. Look into people and make meaningful connections. Because the more deeper it is, the more beautiful it is. And the moment you understand all of this, right? What it is to have your own vision, what it is to understand outcomes to a certain extent are in your control. All you need to do is handle the response element of an event that happens in your life. Don't jump, don't react, hold yourself together. It's very difficult, very difficult. I remember in one of the sessions which I was facilitating, it was very senior managers, and we were talking about relationships, and one of the persons shared how he would call his sister. He's living in Bangalore, but his sister lives elsewhere. And he said, I'm very upset. It was a 2-day session. He said, I'm very upset because I have to call my sister every time. She never calls me. And so it's now almost 3 months I haven't called her. So my question to him immediately out of curiosity was, does your sister work? He said, no, she's a full-time homemaker. I said, okay. Today, go back, call her and ask her. If I can be in her position, I understand from where she's coming. One of my guesses is she thinks you are busy and therefore doesn't want to disturb you. And the next day, the session, early morning, he was one of the first participants who came. And he came in smiling and he said, thank you, Rashmi. I said, for what? He's like, I made that call and you were right. When I told her, why don't you ever call me? She said, Anna, you're the one busy, you're working. So I don't know what's a good time to speak to you. Let's fix a time over the weekend and I'll call you. And he said, it changed so much. It changed so much. So it is so beautiful when you start understanding the value of a response or a reaction. Don't instantly go emotional. Try and understand that response from your end is the outcome. In this case, the outcome of the relationship was that much more deeper. I is wisdom in the information. Filter information that you have. Filter, double filter, triple filter. But filter information before you spread it. Even the recent Ukraine war, the Russia-Ukraine war, there were so many forwards saying, please donate on this link, and a lot of people were sending money. But most of them were fake. And this was a cybersecurity person who was sharing this information on radio, saying, please don't click on any link that comes to you from an unknown number or a forward saying, donate on this link, we'll help so and so, so and so. Most of them are fake. So don't fall prey. We all want to help and we think giving money is the safest and easiest way to feel good. That's why I'm saying that's the easiest way to feel good, but it doesn't stay for too long. Give unconditionally. So wisely use information. Communication, communication, communication. Invest, invest, invest. It's one of the best skills you can ever invest on. And the more you invest in it, the better you become. And it's a skill. It's not a talent. If I, somebody who was so shy and introverted at 20, could speak and win awards at 22, it's only because I practiced. Public speaking is a skill. Work on it. Believe you can. Make mistakes. College is one of the best spaces to try it. A safe group, if you have amongst your friends, do a lot of impromptu talks and all that. Fall, get up. It's much better than going to a bigger space. I went to a big space. I stood for elections for being that introvert I am, lost it because I did not speak a word coherently. And that's when I publicly felt ashamed. But it's the best investment I did in my life because nobody in college remembers me and that particular day where I forgot my speech. But that was responsible for me to work on myself. And communication is one of the best skills you can work on. It's always on. Because when a person speaks well, we like to listen to them. And along with that communication comes the energy element, the way you speak, how you speak, what you say, and the meaningful connections that you do with people around you. Every element of this word voice is much deeper than just sound. And all of us are bodies of energy which are connected one to the other. If you're all here and choosing to be here today, it's because we are connected. If you are interacting on the chat box and sending those messages, it's because you're feeling connected. This is happening virtually, but something that is being shared is connecting to you, right? So even virtually, energies can get transferred, energies can be felt. Okay, I'll pause here. Any questions, you can unmute and ask me, or you can type in the chat box. Because I'm very mindful of the time we have on hand. Before I conclude, I'd like to take questions at this point.
Yeah, I think in YouTube we have one person asking, what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
Okay, beautiful question. Knowledge is the theory part. Wisdom is the practical usage of the knowledge. Like one of the most beautiful quotes I have read is, knowledge is knowing that the tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it in the fruit salad. So common sense is wisdom. Knowledge is the theory element. Thank you very much. That's a very beautiful question.
All right. So let us quickly see if somebody has a question. Okay, there is a question. What is right attitude and in professional life?
Right attitude. Okay, yeah, it's here on Zoom, right? On the chat. Yes, Bhamini. Right attitude, not only in professional life. Why do you call it professional? Because there are certain expectations set, right? When you sign up to be part of a profession, these are some of the set rules you have to follow. You can't bring in your personal life problems in there and say, I'm sorry. You're expected to do certain things. Do it. And that is something which you have a choice in. Let's say there is a very important meeting and you have volunteered or you've been chosen to do the presentation. On the day of the presentation, there's a huge problem at home. A professional or the professional attitude, and this attitude, professional attitude, can be even in while you're studying, which will get translated to the space that you're working in. It's important for you to understand that the professional attitude is, don't take your personal problem to the presentation. Emotionally, you may be disturbed, but that should not affect the way you're presenting, because you have been chosen or you chose to be the presenter. Leave that outside the room, come into the room, do your presentation, and then excuse yourself and go handle your personal problem. Or find an alternative. If you can't join for some reason, emergencies happen to everyone, find somebody. That's why having a backup when you're doing something always helps. Okay, always keep a backup when you are nominating yourself, because in the last 2 years, this is a reality everyone understands. Emergencies can happen to anybody. Have a backup, that's professional attitude. That if for some reason I cannot, then you will step in. Okay, that's professional attitude. Not bringing your personal life into the professional space, drawing your lines very clearly in what you are expected to do, what you promise to do, and what you actually deliver. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
Yes. There's one more question. It says, how to overcome bad experiences?
Okay, experiences are never bad or good. Experiences happen to all. Instead of asking why, alter your question to what did I learn from this? Don't ask why did I have to go through this? Say, what do I learn from this? And move forward. Because you can't change the experience. It's already in the past. You know what happens to most of us? We are never happy because we look for a million reasons to be unhappy. Happiness is a choice. And happiness is something that comes out of the right attitude. And what is that attitude? The attitude of gratitude makes people happy. To be thankful. To be thankful for who you are and where you are. And the more thankful you are, the more happy you are. So please don't ask why. ask, what can I do here? What have I learned from this? And that will shift the entire way you look at an experience. Okay.
Okay, there is one more similar question. How to avoid negatives of life in YouTube? Similar question. I think you almost answered this for the previous question.
Yeah. So negative and positive again is an attitudinal choice. Change your question, alter your questions, and you'll be surprised how it changes. Okay, what did I learn from this? What can I do to come out of this? Stop asking why. Start asking, what can I do? And it'll alter a lot of whatever happens to you. Okay? Yeah. Any other question? I hope I have answered. If I have not answered your question, please ask further. Or maybe can they unmute and ask if they're on Zoom, Muthu?
Yeah, I read out few
Okay.
YouTube questions. There is one person in
Yes,
Zoom.
ma'am. Cleared, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You cleared it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Fly on Fernandez. Yeah.
I think Monica can unmute yourself and ask the question that you have written.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
how can we handle voice tone in different situations, ma'am? Voice tone in different situation, in a current situation.
Okay. When you're very happy, Monica, how is your tone? Your pitch is very high, right? Hey, you know what? This happened, right? When you're very upset, how is your tone? Very low. Correct? You don't want, when you're angry, how is your tone? Very controlled. You bite your teeth and speak. So it's important for you to become aware of one activity which is happening in our body very, very automatically, and that is called breathing. So the moment there is a situation which is way beyond your control and you don't know what to do, just sit down, sit erect, and take a deep breath. Okay? Breathe with awareness. Pause. Don't be in a hurry to do anything in that situation. It'll take you 1 second to breathe with awareness. Okay, you know what? When we go to the doctor and the doctor says breathe in, okay, what do? That's wrong. When we breathe in, our belly, upper belly area, which is called the diaphragm, should expand. And when we breathe out, that space should contract. So when you breathe with awareness, what will happen is this space will expand. Just 3 times, breathe in, breathe out, and then handle your situation. Your tone and you both will be under control.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
We have another question from Radhika. How can we handle stress and pressure?
Okay. Radhika, there is a huge element here which you have to understand. When I say stress, okay, there is a positive side to it and a negative element. Stress that is positive is called eustress, and stress that is negative is called distress. And eustress is where we are pushing ourselves to be our best selves. Okay, like suppose there is an exam or there is a test. You have learned very well. You know the subject, you love the subject, and you have really prepped up and done everyday studies for it, and you've really prepared yourself. Now, what are you pushing yourself into? You're stressed. But this stress is helping you bring out the best side of you, and that is called eustress. You have the butterflies in your stomach, but at the same time, your anxiety is not making you hyper to forget. You're waiting to write the answer, right? Do the same exercise I told Monica. Breathe consciously 3 times and then sit down to take that test. The pressure there helps you perform better. That's why don't look outside for competition. Be your own competition, set your own benchmarks. Be your best version, better than your last version every day. You'll be surprised what you can achieve. But the other side of it, like if you take a spectrum, this is one side. What is the other side is the stress that leads to headaches, high BP, palpitation. There's nothing good that you feel about it. And that pressure is not something that releases good hormones in you. So don't allow it to stress up so much, because that point you're doing firefighting. When do you fight fire? Only after the fire happens. You don't firefight before the fire, right? It's called firefighting only because the fire has already happened. So don't allow it to go to firefighting. Handle it before that. Make sure that you're prepped from all sides. But still, if the situation is beyond you and the event has occurred, go back to the outcome. E plus R is equal to O. The event is not under your control. What is under your control? The response. See what is best and not use your knowledge, but use your common sense or wisdom to understand how to handle the situation. And that's how stress and pressure can be handled. It's difficult. The first time, maybe you won't understand, but consciously start doing this. You'll be surprised how you can handle anything life throws at you. I hope I answered your question, Radhika. Yeah. Any other question, Muthu?
I think that's all. There are no questions.
No more questions?
YouTube. Maybe if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask our speaker for the day today, Rashmi Shetty. Anybody has any questions, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask her.
Yes, Bhamini, personality development matters. And nowadays, a lot of it, though it's all virtual connections, it's what people can get out of the screen, right? We are not doing this live, face-to-face, one-on-one. We are doing this through a screen. But I'm sure there's a lot about me you have picked up. Because it's important for us to understand your profile. Anybody can write your profile and send and they will read. But a lot of what you are giving is when you start communicating. So make sure that you bring in that element of who you are essentially. Find your own essence. All of us have a fragrance. Find that fragrance, find that sweet smell. What is your essence? And the more clear you are about your essence, that would spread everywhere you go. Okay, so it does matter, Bhamini, and you have a choice on how you're going to work on your personality. You choose the personality. It comes with the right attitude. It comes with the right education that you're picking from your environment and the experience that life has thrown at you. How you handle all of this gets reflected in your presence, how you behave and who you are. Because sometimes, even before you speak, what comes into the room is who exactly you are. That presence is where we can work on ourselves. Okay? Yeah.
Right. Anybody else has got any questions before I move on? Okay,
no more questions?
You the question.
I'm very positive. Huh? No questions means you understood everything that I spoke till now. So the next time somebody asks you what is voice, I'm sure you'll go beyond sound, right? And the more clarity you have on all of these elements, you are working on your voice. Work deeply on your voice, and this is the right time to make sure that your voice, your presence matters. And I'd love to conclude with one of my favorite poems. It came to me as a forward. I assume there are no more questions. I will then conclude. So this poem came to me as a forward when I was clueless what to do with myself. I'd taken a career break, and it was an email forward that came to me. I will never forget the person who shared this poem, because this poem was one of the most meaningful poems. I've forgotten the number of times I've shared it. The poem is anonymous. It didn't come with the name of a poet, but I have now unofficially become the brand ambassador because I love sharing this poem. So, one more time, I end with this poem, which is one of my all-time favorite poems. It is, "You are a star. Don't say you're not important. It simply isn't true. The fact that you're born is proof God has a plan for you. The path may seem unclear right now, but one day you will see all that came before was truly meant to be. God wrote this book that is your life. That's all you need to know. Each day that you're living was written long ago. God only writes bestsellers, so be proud of who you are. Your character is important in this book called life. You are a star." So remember, in the book called life, which is your book, God only writes masterpieces. You are a star. If I ask you how many of you remember Miss India this year or 5 years ago, most of us don't even care. But if I ask you, do you remember the name of a teacher in your UKG first standard or second standard? You have an answer. Because that teacher directly touched you. That teacher made a difference to you. So when we touch other people, we make a difference. That teacher is not a media celebrity or covered by news channels, but a teacher who just simply by being herself or himself impacted you for who you are today. And each one of us can strive to find that star within us. Get in touch with the star. Because, stars don't twinkle. It is the dust particles that make it look like they twinkle. And those dust particles in our life are the obstacles, the challenges that help you find who you can become. So that's why I said, don't ask why me. Ask, what is it I need to learn from this? Because life is only equipping you. And in life, never say no to any opportunity. You may think you're not ready, but life gives you that opportunity because life has already made you ready. Jump, take that opportunity, you'll learn in the process. Don't worry, because like I told you, there's nothing called perfection. You are anyway a star meant to shine. Get up when life gives you challenges and you've fallen. Getting up is the most important element because each time the dust comes on you, you are shining even more. So God bless all of you and all the very best. I am available on LinkedIn and Muthu has my email ID and I have a YouTube channel as well. So you can get in touch with me on any of these forums and I'd love to see what you want to take away from the session. Anything that you have to take away, please feel free. I will type in my email ID on this so you can write to me if you have any questions. Okay? Yeah, if there are any questions, please let me know, Muthu. The messages are going very fast.
There are no questions.
Okay.
So basically, what the takeaway that I have for today is that I love the E is equal to MC square. That I was all this while I was thinking something else. I was thinking about signs and all that thing, but it was nice. Energy is equal to meaningful connections. And I love the attitude is equal to 3 E's that you said, the environmental lessons, education and experiences. Very nice. And you also spoke about the average of 5 people. Very, very, true, very, very true. That is. For the people here, I wanted to say that I had a privilege to work with few very, very nice people like Rashmi Shetty and Major Bhargav sir and all. I've learned a lot. Maybe about 10 years, maybe a decade before we connected in a common forum called The Fold. I see Rashmi Shetty to be the same person that I met her that day. Of course, knowledge-wise, she keeps going deep and deep, and she shares her knowledges, and we learn a lot. But then same cool, composed, very nice, very. It is very tough for a very cool, composed person to express that energy, or either they are very energetic or very cool, composed, very subtle. But Rashmi is somebody who can blend in and bring that. That is really, really tough. I don't know how she gets it. Every time I see, it's the same old Rashmi and same old energy, and same composed. I learn a lot. I mean, she inspires me a lot. So I thought I should take this opportunity to thank her for inspiring me. And her knowledge is really, really immense. And I mean, she's a bundle of knowledge, experiences, skills. I mean, thank you, Rashmi, for inspiring me a lot.
Thank you, Muthu. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for remembering me and inviting me. It was wonderful answering all the questions, and I truly enjoyed myself in the session. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everybody. Stay blessed.
Any of you wanted to, give a feedback or probably quick 2-3 sentences of how you felt the session was, feel free to do that. Meanwhile, we have also shared the link in the Zoom and as well as in the YouTube. You can fill in this feedback form to get your e-certificates. So the link is there already shared in the, meanwhile, we will have about 3 minutes to fill in the feedback form. Meanwhile, if somebody wants to unmute and give a quick feedback on how the session was, please feel free and go ahead and do that. Okay. I'll just is the one. Is the okay, I have a feedback written here in the chat. I have folks written. Thank you, ma'am. It was an excellent session, a very interesting session. Madhushri has written. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And very interesting session, made us more knowledgeable. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was an awesome session. Then we have, thank you, ma'am. It was a very motivational and inspirational session. Then we have very inspirational session. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was very beautiful session. Beautiful session. Thank you, ma'am. Very effective and informative session. A useful session, ma'am. Very informative session. All right, the list is on. The list is on and it is going on. Let me read quickly from some YouTube also. Okay, I have a YouTube and then such a wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was really great to listen to you, ma'am. Then we have beautiful poem. What's the poem's name, ma'am?
Okay. I told you that was anonymous.
Okay. Okay. There are a lot of people saying thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Muthu. Enjoyed myself thoroughly, and everyone, all the very best to you. Find out your best version and your voice. It's a beautiful journey. Having been through that journey myself, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. So get on it now, because we are already moving into a world where we are going to be face to face as much as we are virtual. So it's a beautiful time also, the right time, in fact, to get down to find your voice. Thank you very, very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rashmi. It's a pleasure to host you here in this platform, in the forum. Meanwhile, yeah, I just would request all the other folks to stay connected. We have, as a process, we have a national anthem played at the end of the session. So probably before that, quickly, can we have one group photo, probably virtual photo? All of us can, maybe switch on your video and let us all come quickly and take a picture, and then we will go ahead in closing the session. Shall I may I request all of you to show up on the video? Okay, let me stop sharing the screen so that I can see all of them. Okay, stop share. Okay. All right. How do I make it full screen here? Full screen. Okay. All right. Let me call that out again. May I request all of you to show up in the video so that we can take a quick screenshot. Okay, so the people are coming up. All right. Okay, great. Are we all set? There are a few more people opening up. On a count of 3, we will put 1, 2, and 3. One more. All right. Let me quickly share the screen back again. Okay, so may I request all of you to stand up? You can switch off the camera.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Okay. So if somebody wants to connect with them so that's our email ID. It is dillearningforum@gmail.com, and the website is disciplesindia.in. And people, whoever wants to connect with us in Facebook, it is Disciples India Group. We also share our photos after the session, so our team will start uploading the pictures in Facebook. Folks can go and download there. And if you wanted to be a member of Disciples India Learning Forum, you can always reach out to Dr. Sandhya, or you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Dr. Pathos and Mr. Satish, Mr. Shiv Prasad, and Mr. Akhilesh. You have all the numbers given here. I will leave this screen for next maybe about 60 seconds. Some of you want to make a note of the numbers, make a note of it, or you can take a screenshot. On a maybe next 30 seconds, I will leave this open. Okay, thank you all for this wonderful evening. For participating very actively, and once again I take the opportunity to thank Rashmi for being here and making our evening so wonderful. Thank you. Maybe on a count of 10, I will close the session. 10, 9, 8.